The Pentagon and Congress are both concerned about these leaked documents that have come directly from the department. And as you can see here, some of which are showing the dire assessments of the Ukrainian army and how badly a lot of different situations are going there for Russia and for Ukraine and for the entire country there. Remember that this war, there's no winners in this war at all. Take a listen to Congressman Brad Wenstrup, who was an Iraqi war veteran here, on what he has to say about these leaked documents, which is actually treason if they find out who did it.
Pentagon now investigating what could be one of the most dangerous intelligence breaches in decades. More than 100 classified documents leaked on social media containing U.S. national security details and information on Ukraine's war, the Middle East, and China. Republican Congressman Brad Wenstrup sits on the House Intelligence Committee, and he joins us now. Congressman, happy Easter. Glad to have you with us this morning. Contextualize this for. How big a deal is this leak and the information contained? It's now on social media.
Well, I think it's a huge deal, obviously. But first of all, let me say have a blessed Easter to you as well. And I appreciated the last story as an Iraq war veteran and someone as a surgeon was called into Walter Reed to take care of some of the wounded from that exit that they call wasn't chaos. But going to what you were talking about, the 100 documents or so, as reported by the New York Times, and you mentioned about Ukraine, Middle East, and China, very serious. And the Biden administration is saying very little. Maybe they're worried that it'll rekindle some of the president's malfeasance with classified documents, but the Pentagon confirmed the leak. On Thursday, they said they were looking into a potential leak. Friday, the disclosures widened. You know, the question comes in, was this stolen from within or was it hacked from outside? And they mentioned that there were slides. Obviously, this was electronic. And it was marked by the Pentagon Joint Staff. That's the type of document that it said it was. The Pentagon has said they're legitimate, but also altered. So that's kind of an interesting point right there. They said it was altered in a way to overstate Ukrainian losses and to downplay Russian losses. Well, why would that be? Who would do that? Well, likely Russia would do something like that because it would maybe for the U.S. sort of diminish our support for what we're doing, to say things that aren't working, or for the Ukrainians to demoralize them, and for Russians to give them a sense of winning. Right. So this seems like it might be disinformation along with real information.
And it's almost impossible to parse where that disinformation might be originating, what is real, what is false when it comes to information versus disinformation. One more quick follow-up on that, and I know we're tight on time. The documents reveal things like the U.S.'s spying operations across the globe, how integrated our spying operations are in Russia. As you mentioned, projected losses for Russia and Ukraine in their war. But what I'm curious about, and I heard you say, could be hacked outside, could be stolen inside. How does something like this get out? How is it leaked?
Well, that I don't know, and we need to track the source as best we possibly can. But you brought up something real important there, Will, is they can learn from this what our techniques are, how we are able to gather our information. There needs to be an investigation and who had access to this type of information. But leaks don't seem to bother people, or we don't seem to get anywhere with investigations. Just look at the Supreme Court. Did we get anything from those leaks and the investigation that followed? We didn't.
Right.
And I can go back to Zero Dark 30 coming out, and I said to James Clapper in a hearing, how did Hollywood get all that information? He just casually said, leaks.
Wow. Okay, this is important and deserves a lot of time, but we're going to have to fit into the time that we do have together. You know, international relations often takes place not through direct words, but through actions that have to be interpreted. The United States has sent a bipartisan codel of legislators over to Taiwan to send a message, in their own words, of deterrence to China. Hey, don't mess with China. Don't mess with Taiwan. We have Taiwan's back is the message. China is now sending a message back, Congressman. They are simulating military precision strikes against Taiwan. They're on their second day of drills like this. Now, how do we read China's actions here? What are they communicating?
They're communicating a show of force, and that the tensions are rising within China. That they don't like this. I think that we have to show that strength. We want to deter any future action, but this may be a back and forth right now, and hopefully that's all it is or all it will be. But look, America supports Taiwan. There's no doubt about it. Both sides of the aisle, and we have to continue to show that to them. And they're going to try and show their show of force and try and intimidate Taiwan. And I don't think Taiwan's being intimidated. When I went there, they're not intimidated. They will fight to the death rather than have China take them over.
So dual saber rattling until someone pulls the saber out. That's got to be the international diplomacy trick of understanding when someone might pull the saber out and hoping that doesn't happen. All right, Congressman Winstrup, great to talk to you this morning on some very serious and important topics. Thank you.
So first of all, let's address one of the last things he said there, that China is simulating attacks on Taiwan right now, which is very concerning, especially because the U.S. has the Taiwan Relations Act, and President Biden has stated multiple times that we would defend Taiwan if they were attacked. Also, I'll show you this here. In addition to China carrying out simulated precision attacks on Taiwan targets, previously, China had been simulating attacks on U.S. Navy ships. Taiwan had said previously here as well. This being reported by Reuters. So, I mean, China is, not not really a friendly country. It's kind of strange here that they can trade and import so much goods and products to the United States while also doing this kind of behavior. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but it's pretty alarming. It's pretty alarming stuff here to say, oh yeah, we want to trade and import billions and billions, maybe even trillions of dollars of product, but we're also going to simulate attacks on you guys. I mean, here it is right here, black and white. So you guys could just it's a little bit alarming to say the least, right? What's also alarming is these leaked documents. Did they come from somebody here inside the US? Which is very, very concerning, because if we have a mole inside the US, first of all, we need to find out who that is, and they're going to probably go to prison for a long, long time. That's treason at the highest level, okay? And you also got to kind of think about how much problems we've had with classified documents here recently, even with our presidents and vice president. You think about President Biden, former President Trump, and for former Vice President Mike Pence, all having classified documents. Now, I don't think that this is one of them, but you got to really think about all the classified document issues we've had. And remember that there's a lot of people that get access to classified documents in the DOD, the DOJ, senators, congressmen, people that handle in the Pentagon, okay? There's lots of people that get classified documents, okay? Also, was it hacked by somebody in Russia? There's really a lot of things to talk about here. Were these documents altered to make it seem worse or better for Russia or Ukraine? And you can see here, leaked documents show dire details for the assessments of the Ukrainian army, saying here, classified documents apparently leaked last week show weaknesses in the Ukrainian army, specifically shortfalls of ammunition and air defense, according to reports. The Washington Post reported that one of the leaked Pentagon documents details that Ukrainian army's air defense may not be able to protect the front lines through the end of May, which is, like 30 days away or so, right? One of the documents included an assessment from February from the Defense Department Joint Staff, which said Ukraine's, quote, ability to provide medium-range air defense to protect the front lines will be completely reduced by May 23rd, according to the Post, which means they need more supplies, or else there's going to be a lot more deaths. The report classified documents also say that once Ukraine's first layer of defense munitions run out, the second and third layer expenditure rates will increase, reducing the ability to defend against Russian aerial attacks from all altitudes. Now, I do want to say here that they are saying that some of these documents are altered. Now, we don't know how much to take that, with a grain of salt or not. Ukraine suggests that Russia's altered the leaked U.S. intelligence documents. Now, whether or not that's true or not, right? Take that with a grain of salt, right? In fact, Ukrainian Defense Ministry intelligence says in recent decades, the most successful operations of the Russian special services took place in Photoshop, which I can agree with that to a certain degree. I mean, we know Russian hackers are pretty pretty good with a lot of stuff like that, right? Saying, quote, from the preliminary analysis of these materials, we see false figures on losses from both sides. And according to the Associated Press, in some of the documents, estimates of the Russian troops' deaths have been noted to be significantly lower than the figures given by U.S. officials, according to the Associated Press. But one of the biggest factors to consider here is that if Ukraine's running out of munitions and they don't get them, then what's going to happen is a lot more destruction and death. And remember that in Ukraine, arguably, a lot of this that happens is to civilians. I mean, we've all seen the footage of what happens to apartment buildings, hospitals, just regular old residential complexes, right? We see the rockets that come over, and if they don't get shot down, what happens, right? But on the other hand, the United States can't be solely responsible for providing this. Now, we're not, though. I mean, most other countries in Europe are helping to provide for this. But on the other hand, you got to think about the defense contractors and the companies making this equipment really need to be on full capacity, 100% capacity to be replenishing this, not only just for Ukraine, but also for the United States stockpiles and other countries' stockpiles as well. You got to think about this, especially with the heightened alert. I mean, look at what the countries that are basically sending out threats: China, Russia, North Korea. And remember that the U.S. literally got struck in Syria by Iran. So, I mean, we need to have stockpiles. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. Just click subscribe, then the bell icon. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's some videos you should watch next. Click here to see a nuclear warning just sent to Americans, or click here to see the U.S. government taking away multiple rights of ours. That's right. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.